Greetings and welcome to smartwatchtics.com. You know, a few times a year we see something revolutionary appear and everybody else jumps on the bandwagon. We saw that many years ago when heart rate started to show up on smartwatches with a green diode lighting things up. Then we saw 4G come to the Android phones. Now they all have it. Then we saw the red diode show up for blood oxygen after COVID started appearing everywhere. And now, today, you're about to see something revolutionary all over again in this special watch. What is it? I'm going to tell you about it right now. Check out the packaging that's going on with this thing, though. It's a sweet little module, and it does something no other watch does. It provides laser therapy. Whoa! Okay, what's that about? You're going to find out. In the meantime, it's about $90 on a flash sale at Banggood right now. It's a Bakeey product, the F800, remember that. We might be seeing this technology appear in other places. I'm going to talk about that technology in a lot of detail, but first let me highlight that it's an addition to an already really sophisticated watch that includes ECG measurement, body temperature measurement, heart rate, blood oxygen, blood pressure, everything. It's got it all. And it does a nice job of it because of the tethering app that it uses. It is Bluetooth 5.0. Full touch screen operation. These are the supported languages. Here you go. 3 high laser treatments. ECG, I talked about all of these things. All of that's in this watch. And of course, your typical stuff like sedentary reminders, sleep monitors, camera control, pushing notifications to your watch from the phone. It's a 1.3-inch 360 by 360 IPS screen watch. Nice high resolution. It's got a using time of about 7 to 9 days. Charges in about 2 hours. Okay. What's with this laser therapy stuff? Well, let's get into the watch first. We have a cover on the back that we want to peel off. Notice it's not touching the electrodes, but just kind of covering the ceramic back here. You're going to see all these different diodes and dots and things here in a minute. When we open up this, we get the user's manual, which we'll go through. And I tell you, the packaging is like a $200, $250 or higher watch. This is what Amazfit does. This is what Samsung does. This is what Apple would do if they really knew how to package things. I know, I always dig on them, and they do a pretty good job of packaging. In here used to be the charging dock. How embarrassing. I've used it already. I put it all back together for you, but I forgot to get I'll bring it over in a minute. Oh my goodness. And in here are the bands. I had it all put together, and I took the bands off just so we could have the excitement of pulling them out again. They're a black rubberized band. Let's see, come out this way. They use the quick disconnect on both ends. It's really easy. You get the buttons on your right upside down, and this is true of all watches, and then you put the one with the buckle in this way, okay? Buttons on the right, buckle on the top. That's how it fits, and that's how it'll work. I'm going to put it together and bring over the charger. There we go. Now, what I told you is completely backwards. They're on the right if you have it right side up, and it goes down there. But now, you have to have the buttons on the left and put the one with the buckle on the top. And then, when you flip it over, it's going to be on the correct side for left-handed people to wear the watch. You with me now? You notice there's a slight difference. I also, in addition to getting the charging dock, put on the original cover that came with it, and that was in the box, and I took it off just like that. So the ring on the bottom, the cover on the top, and it uses a 2-point charging dock, and it just floats in here. You set it in, plug the USB in. Talk about attention to detail. It even comes with its own little cap, and that's how you charge the thing up. Now, last thing we want to do before getting started is to go through the manual in English and let you know about this therapy capability. It's the F800 user manual. There's your display and functions. Now look in the back. You've got the charging contacts, that's the silver dots. You got the ECG conductive sheets, that's those big arcs there. The laser treatment diodes are here and here. The heart rate sensors are green. The temperature sensors are the metal plates in here. And gosh, I'm not sure about the blood oxygen. We'll have to turn it on and test that. Anyway, all kinds of sensors in this one. Charging instructions, you're checking that out, right? Downloading the app, here's the information. We have a link in the show notes for you, or go straight to the Google store, the Play Store, and look for SmartHealth. You can do the QR code, but I recommend you get it directly from the Google store. Always recommend that. Main interface looks like this. These are all of the different tiles as you slide through. Oh, these are the watch faces? Yeah, sorry, these are the watch faces. And then there's this laser treatment where you can change the strength and the timing of it once you know what it's going to do for you. Here's one method of doing the ECG, which you'll get an actual chart on the watch, and there's another method you can do it in the app that even gives you more detail. Basic method of operation. We have got product parameters, okay, and the app languages that are available, and the main functions of the watch, precautions that it's talking about, and then the warranty card for the particular watch. Now, you see, we didn't get a lot of detail about the therapy. Going to clear all this out, and let's talk about that. Now, this is not new technology per se. It's new to a watch environment like this, but laser treatment has been around practically as long as your CD player, not your Blu-ray. That uses blue laser light, but the original red lasers were at probably about the same 650 nanometer frequency that is common in cold laser therapy. Now, this is the page description of the link at Banggood about this particular watch. It's this one here we're looking at. We haven't turned it on yet. When you get into this, it says that you have 3 high laser treatments for low blood lipids and so forth and so forth. I don't even profess to begin to understand what they're talking about, and I'm going to tell you, really use a grain of salt when digesting this. Cannot tell you if it's effective or not. Cannot tell you if it's calibrated or not. Don't even know if you could calibrate it. But I can tell you that it talks about the treatment principle and effect. This red light, laser light, the 650 nanometer wavelength, it released by the laser probe itself, effectively activates red blood cells, improves the fluidity and viscosity of the blood. Again, claims that I cannot verify, nor what I say you should take on faith. Rapidly, go ahead and read it. I'm not going to go into detail with it, but it's all here, and that's where it happens in the laser diodes. So you want to see that? Of course you do. We have to turn it on first. Press and hold. And like I said, I've already used it and charged it and then let it die down a little bit. It's been going for 24 hours or more, playing with lasers and night sleeping and everything. And so it's got some time on it, and you can see the battery's still pretty decently charged. Now, let's look at it, then we'll come back and go through what's on the watch, because this is what's new. This therapy stuff is what's new. You can get to it by pressing the button on the side. You have it already set up for whatever time you want. I set it for the maximum, 240 seconds. And I think it's at about an intensity of 2. And are you seeing on the ground? You don't get this out of those little red diodes that are used for blood oxygen readings. This is actual laser light, guys. Now, don't look directly at the light, okay? You never should. I'm going to have to sit back a little bit and flash it here on the screen. There you go. It's those 2 lasers in a watch that are generating this light that when you put this on your wrist, this is at the top, buttons on the right. Oh, it stopped on me. Come on, keep going. There we go. You put this over your wrist. When it makes contact now, it's embedding the lasers directly on top of your skin and shooting the laser light down into your capillaries, veins. I think they talk about the radio vein or something like that. Anyway, it is providing light therapy directly into your body. That's new. That's what's really new about this one, and that's what sets it apart from all of the others. So we're going to stop this and come back over here and start over again with the overall look at the watch. When you swipe down, you got all these things. You got your settings, or brightness, that you can get into. Okay, the watch brightness is high right now. It can go as low as that. We'll leave it at about a 2. It's only 3 levels. This is the device information, the F800, and this is a little stopwatch that you've got. It doesn't run in the background. Each time you go in it starts over, but you have that there. Find your phone is right there in overall settings, and we just went to brightness. All of these things you can go into different ways. There's the treatment, the same thing we got to from here. However, we're in settings now, so when I go in here, look at this. I was at a strength of 2. You can go up to 4, and I'm at a time of 4 minutes. You can go 3 minutes, 2 minutes, or 1 minute. So if I do a 1 minute super intense session, I have it set for that. Then when I activate it, it'll do that setting. And then you have your overall system info. We already saw that. Shut down, brightness, and you see it just loops around and around again. And that was all in the settings here underneath that panel when you swipe down. When you swipe up, notifications sent from your phone app to the watch will show up. And when you come back here and swipe to the left, moving to the right, you'll get your step count, calories burned, distance traveled for the day, and you got to be quick. Come in, here's last night's sleep time, and I can't get any more detail than this, but you do in the app when you transfer it over. Heart rate and blood. This is the heart rate one. I get confused because there's 2 numbers here, but that's the daily low and high. High and low. It's calculating the current heart rate, and you'll see in the chart in the app it's doing a continuous heart rate measurement, which is why we have high and low. And I'm amped up at 106 right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then over here to the treatment, we saw that. Now, if I start this, it's starting it at that highest intensity. You see the smoke coming off of my arm? Tss. Medium rare, please, medium rare. I'm going to exit out of there. And then we get to ECG. Now, the ECG is great. Like I said, there's 2 ways of doing it. You've seen this before on many of the watches we've reviewed, mostly the bands, but some of the round watches that use the SmartHealth app. And all you got to do when you land on that screen is simply touch the side, because those 2 plates behind are already making connection with your skin, and it's having trouble figuring me out here. Let me hold it still, get it started. Okay, I'm going to start it over, let it begin again. The 2 plates there make electrical contact. The electrical signal from the heart is running around in a full circle here now, and will complete a 1-lead ECG or EKG. It's the same thing whether you're English or German. All right, it's a bit noisy right now, but I've got some that I'll show you in the app itself. When it settles down, you get that typical bump up every second or so chart. And you see there's a countdown going right there of seconds, and then there's over here heart rate variability. When you get that whole thing completed, it just says it's done, but you can't see anything more. When you transfer it to the app, though, you can. So this was this last panel here, and then you've got blood oxygen. Wow, there you go. See the green and red. It's using both green and red diode. Now, it's a different red diode, guys. It's not the laser treatment diode. It's buried in here. There you get the red that way. Okay, now it's almost purely red. Anyway, it's blending the 2 together, probably to give... Wow, you're back in ECG? No, there we go, blood oxygen. It's blending the 2 together to give you the best possible reading for blood oxygen out of this watch. So a lot of advancements on the technologies that are implemented in this one, including new laser therapy. Go one more and you're back to the watch faces. So we've covered everything in there. Watch faces themselves, press and hold if it's still on, and you can shift between a nice analog one there. Here's another beautiful little analog one. And another one, okay, with the hand pointers. Here's a digital one if you want. You've got Temperature, you see the body temperature there? That's on this face, and that's accessible from the apps. So we get in here to the apps. Oh, where were they? Just loop. So settings, QR code, stopwatch we talked about, treatment. Then you get into temperature. Okay, here. I hope you got a couple of hours with me this time. This watch really does a lot. I can do a wrist measurement, a forehead measurement, and then Aller measure. And I'm not sure, that looks like it's on like an all-body thing or something, or you stick it someplace that you choose on your body. I don't know. I'm going to do a wrist measurement and just show you how it works, because it's 60 seconds, guys. It takes a minute as it's going through and adjusting everything. Even though if you have it on, it's warmed up to your body temperature, it's not giving you an instant reading when you're taking this measurement. But you'll see in the app, we do have continuous heart rate measurements, like taking every certain amount with 35 seconds left and so forth. Exit that. Forehead would be the same. Again, it starts with 60. They all look the same, but you get slightly different information out of them. And that's temperature, heart rate, step recording. That's your daily step count. We saw that. Blood pressure. We haven't seen the screen for that because it's not one of the cards. This is kind of buried away in here. Temperature and blood pressure aren't as easily as accessible, but you can get to them, and this will give you your systolic and diastolic, and it probably takes a while as well, so we're not going to wait. Ah, good. See, if I talk long enough, magic happens. Oh, look, it's still adjusting. Okay, gave me an initial reading, and then it's finalizing the reading, which is reasonable for me. I should be about 120s to 130s. So we got that going. You got blood oxygen. We looked at the messages, the workout. The workouts I haven't showed you. Basic walking, running, climbing, cycling, all that kind of stuff. No swimming in here, and then they just loop around. Very limited in terms of fitness. Not really a fitness watch per se. No GPS in this one, but you do have workouts. And then, of course, last night's sleep time with no more detail, okay? I thought it might have more detail, but that's going to be in the app. And overall settings and QR code, and now we're fully looping. Okay, let's switch to the app, because that's where you get to see a lot of this action. We'll start in the Google Play Store. We've got SmartHealth. That's the app that we're going to go through. By the way, little trick for you guys. If you head over to the main website, smartwatchtics.com, you'll find a little magnifying glass in the right-hand corner where all the buttons are, near the playlists and all that stuff. In that magnifying glass, type in SmartHealth. That's the app. In every single video I've done since basically we started, I always put the Tethering app by its name and link to get to it in the Play Store under each major review. So if you put SmartHealth in the magnifying glass on the website, you'll bring up the list of all the other watches that I've reviewed that use this app. So if you like the way an app works, and you want to look at other watches, that's how you find out which ones use that app. The smart folks around smartwatches are realizing that you kind of shop for the app first and then the watch that uses it, as opposed to getting yourself a watch that has a lame app and then be disappointed. I'm going to open SmartHealth. It's gone through all kinds of setup and blah, blah, blah. We've done all that already. You'll do that on your own. This is the home page with all of the basic information. It's white, not red, meaning it is now tethered to the watch, and I can release and do any updates, and it'll synchronize the data that we've collected. So we've got this in terms of steps. Here's the daily step count. Here are the actual numbers and when they happened in half-hour increments. Really good overall detail. And, of course, you've got it by day and by week and by month and all that other stuff. We'll come back here. Blood pressure. Check it out. Systolic, diastolic, actual numbers taken every 10 minutes. You can set a range of when you want it. Once an hour, once every 2 hours. I got it on its maximum. The lowest was here. The highest was there. And again, remember, blood pressure, guys, is a really hard thing for a watch to do in the first place. When you're at your doctor's office, you have to sit still, both feet on the floor, arm in a certain position at your heart level, and you got to get quiet while the machine or the practitioner checks you out. It's no different here. So don't be disappointed if you're playing basketball and you get bogus blood pressure readings, okay? Try to treat it the way you would if you were getting a real reading at the doctor's office, and you have a better likelihood that you're going to get a decent reading. But this is every 10 minutes, no matter what I'm doing. So ideally, you're looking at kind of an average. And it looks low for me. I should probably be way up here. About 130 over 85 is typical for me. So it's reading low. If I know that characteristically, then I can add a certain amount of points, like 10 points here and, I don't know, 5 points there or whatever. There's ways you can try to adjust it to meet closer to what your blood pressure is. And there's blood pressure calibration, where you can actually set your systolic and diastolic cuff pressure. Do it with your cuff. Take it right away. Put those numbers in there and then do it, confirm it, and it'll actually do a blood pressure reading. And what it gets, it will give it those values. And then from there, deviations from your heart rate or your blood pressure readings will show up and incrementally be higher or lower than the default that you set. Really excellent when an app has calibration for blood pressure in it, and this one does. Heart rate. Here we go. Heart rate readings. I had the watch off while I was getting ready for the review. Packed it back up. Forgot to put in the charger. Here's the latest one we just took, and it says fast. See, you can get a normal, fast, low. Most of these are all normal in the 80s, 59, and so forth. But if it seems to be high, fast, it'll give you that as well. So heart rate with a chart with the details. Sleep broken down into your wake time, your deep sleep, and your light sleep. Now, a little disappointed we don't have REM sleep on this one, and we don't have the deep scientific sleep or any of the sleep apnea stuff. There's like two classes of these amazing health watches. This is one of them that does really good on ECG and all these other things, and the other one does really good on blood oxygen and sleep apnea and heart rate variability and Lorenz scatter diagrams. That, by the way, is called H-band. So ideally, you get two bands, one on each arm, one that uses SmartHealth and one that uses H-band. And I'll be showing you one coming up from SpO2, the new one, a square one that is in watch format. Wait for that as well. You'll really have a hard time deciding which one to get. Anyway, that's your sleep stuff. You've got blood oxygen. Here you go. Look, last night I probably was having some sleep apnea events or holding my breath. Because it dropped down to 94-ish while I'm just laying still in bed. When was that? Well, you can scroll back down and see. Here we go, 94, 6 in the morning, somewhere in there, 5:30, 5 o'clock. Gives me some information I can work with. That's in the blood oxygen. And then, like I said, your overall temperature is here. You still with me? Thank you. Good, because I want to show you this therapy stuff in action. Here you go. You got low temperatures. I'm running low compared to what they say I should be. Normal's 96.8 for skin temperature. I believe this is actual skin temperature and not interpolated to body temperature. There's a difference between those two. Does it say? It just says temperature. So I think you're getting these low readings most likely because it's skin temperature. What is it at the airport? 100.2 or 100.4? Or there's a threshold that if you're above that, then you're taken aside as being potentially a no-fly person for the day. This I would not rely on for that kind of a measurement. But it could give you an idea if you feel you might be running a fever. You can watch the historical every 10-minute temperature readings that the watch has been doing automatically in the background for you. And hardly using any battery. Look at that. It's dropped just maybe 20% in the last day or so. Okay, now let's look at that ECG detection stuff. That's the card here at the very top. I come in here and I touch these. I can start a session. We'll talk about that. And you've seen me do this with this app with all the other watches. But what I want to go to are the three dots up here. I'm touching this. It's now refreshing and bringing in the sessions that I did on the watch itself. You saw me kind of fiddling with one. I did a couple of them before. These are some sessions that I did yesterday. And notice the AI diagnosis. When you sync it, it's going to go out to the cloud with the data that's there First, it's got to pull it from the watch, and then you got your basic report that that you recorded with the watch. So I go into AI diagnosis, and for this particular reading, it came back with normal ECG, which is typical. It gives you a little bit of a description, and it shows you the chart. It's got this stuff from my personal stuff. I set it up as a female, age 42 for this demo. You get the chart. Yeah, I can expand it. There, you see how clean the chart turns out when you're doing the ECG properly. Now, a doctor, a medical professional can look at this for deeper things, AFib, atrial flutter, ventricular hideboto, whatever, you might be concerned about. A medical professional can look at that. But this gives a quick artificial intelligence scan, almost like face recognition, if you think of these things as faces, and it identifies if you're having ventricular escape or borderline escape, something like that. And it just does it for each and every one. And then you got this trend tracking thing. I think you got to get a bunch of them in here for it to do that. Normal ones are all here, and it gives you a synopsis of normal versus AFib, and then abnormal is over here. Here we go. From a different watch, a long time ago, I got a suspected AFib. I can't get into it. But anyway, yeah, so it does monitor for that, and I guess that's why I have a red section in that circle up there. And then the normal ones are reported right here. So very sophisticated and detailed approach to working with AFib when you do it from here. Just to get one started for you, we begin. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a stop. I'm going to start it. Now it's actually running, but it's not making anything because I need to actually touch it. Once I touch it, it's got a time delay in it on the time it takes for the Bluetooth to send the signal over. But there's the actual chart coming through, and up at the top you see it's got a beats per minute. Once it figures out, has enough data to get your heart rate variability, and it'll actually compute blood pressure on a process called PPG. What is it? It uses PPG and ECG in a... Oh, I'm losing it. Anyway, I've got a whole video on that. It figures out the time delay between the signal of your heart getting electrically to the watch and then hydraulically to the watch from your blood pumping through your artery. Look at that. Beautiful chart coming out nice. Anyway, I'm almost done. I may as well go all the rest of the way. I took my finger off, and there's where I took my finger off, and then I put it back on. Okay, an AI report generated. There's my heart rate, and there's the chart, and so forth, even including the little hiccup that I got in there. Really fun stuff. I love these things for the ECG and what they can do there. I'm very impressed. We've got the blood oxygen working with the dual diodes in there, and temperature is on it, and I'm really curious about the therapy. That's the main overall card or front page. Your activity is going to let you do exercises in your area on the app. Check the other ones out for all of that information. I don't want to go over all of that again. Care is where you can set your friends in here and you guys can share information. And then overall settings, this is where you can log in. I came in as a guest this time, so when I close the app or uninstall it, not close it, but if I uninstall it, I lose all the data. But if you register, it's up in the cloud. So your choice. If you want your data in the cloud, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just come in here and use it like I am, and it only lives locally in your phone. I like seeing that option to choose guest login or registered. You set your age, your sex. I always do female in case it has female physiology reporting in it. This does not. We don't have period tracking. Haven't found that. Height, weight. You even have a skin color that you can choose by trying to match it up to your skin. Really hard because it's not the right shades of skin. It's like skin color, if you know what I mean. But yeah, you have a spectrum there, which will help overall in doing its readings. Units, this is where you got all kinds of changes for metric or imperial. and other things, managing your permissions, logging out, and such. So that's the basic app. Now, this therapy stuff, there's nothing in the app for it. There's nothing in the watch for it other than the settings that you saw and activating it with the lower button. It's beginning. We set it now for 60 seconds. I think I said it was on number 2, and we set it at its highest level. And it's just a graphic that's going on there, so there's nothing that you can actually see. I tried this during the day. I tried it last night going to bed. I got to tell you, at night it's really bright with the lasers, and it's really fun to take it off and shine it on the ceiling. Yep. And if you spit on your finger, you can mess around on the lasers and get patterns. I told you I wanted to tell you about it. Yeah, just be creative. But it's something really, really new. And I did do a little bit of more research. There are other devices out there, and this is called cold laser therapy, and extracted some more information for you. It works on the principle of low-level laser therapy called cold laser or low-intensity therapy. It's a 650 nanometer red laser. It's known for its ability to enhance cell activity and microcirculation. Now, beyond there, any claims to what that could do to affect physiological conditions, that is something between you and your medical professional, okay? This is some hints at what might be affected, but it is not medical advice. It's not diagnosis and treatment. It's just a guide for different ways that laser therapy might work for you. If you find that this is effective, and it doesn't go 24/7, it's only in spurts, so you have to turn it on from something like a minute to 4 minutes maximum periodically to get the effect. And of course, it's shooting the laser light into your moving blood cells as they're going through your arm. You got a big body with a lot of blood, so I'm not really sure how much a tiny little laser is going to do beyond a placebo effect for you. But if you want to give it a try and you want the latest technology to impress people, here you go. It's in this one. Product applications, they suggest active metabolism, reducing blood fat and total cholesterol. Oh, I wish. Improving blood viscosity, that's a possibility. Controlling blood sugar level, diabetes. Yeah, quick and effectively correlate. Okay, there you go. Anxiety, tensions. I don't know. I really don't know. But it is available as something of new technology. If it catches on and it really is effective, we may start seeing these laser lights pop up on the backs of watches, just like we saw the green diodes for heart rate, then blood pressure, and now the red diodes for blood oxygen. It's possible. It's new. Welcome to 2022. And you can pick it up from Banggood. Check the show notes down below. Got a link there for you. Really appreciate it when you use our links because they track sales that come from you watching these videos, and that's how I'm able to get more watches for you. Any questions? Good. I'm glad we answered everything. We'll see you again soon.